So I'm sure a lot of people are aware of this, but there's a possibility that every South African could be entitled to premium quality healthcare services, right? A lot of people have been complaining about healthcare services, and I think it's Section 27 of the Constitution brought forth a situation where the president, I don't know why I'm saying it like that, but I think it's fine. The president and the parliament basically are trying to implement the national health insurance, but there are a couple of companies that are against this. Obviously, it's the rich people who want to have access to their little, private like a private premium healthcare, right? But some of the issues that they raise, to be honest, are valid. One of those issues is that it's unsustainable because it's going to require a large amount of tax on basically everyone, right? And it seems like they're going to restrict the private healthcare schemes, right? So if you have medical insurance or something like that privately, it's going to restrict how much it covers, right? So they are arguing that it's preventing people's ability to choose services. But the biggest one that I feel like I agree with, apart from the tax, which I also agree with, like I feel like the tax for that is going to be expensive. We South Africans already pay a lot of tax, but another one that I feel like this one is actually very true is the fact that the government has shown us that they are prepared to waste government money, and not just that, people die. Like there's this lady, I think it's in Pofu or something like that. I apologize for not remembering her name, but whistleblowers have been killed because people want to get tenders, right? And I've seen it's everywhere. I think it's common knowledge, especially when you see a construction site in your area, you know people are gonna die. Like that's the standard in South Africa. That's why I will never go into construction. It's basically full of people who are prepared to wherever there's government money, people die. My dad was a victim of that. Right? Unfortunately, he was trying to do the right thing, and if you're one of those, you're going to have to be removed. But the point that I'm trying to make is that the core of it, the idea that you can get the service that a president can get, is is incredible to even imagine. But the system is so broken that number one, South Africa considers everyone, even illegal immigrants, as having or being entitled to healthcare. And the constitution basically prevents, states at the very least, that to the extent possible, right? And because a lot of these illegal immigrants do not necessarily pay tax, um, it's going to burden the state and the taxpayers. That's why I say it's going to be excessively expensive because the amount of people it covers, some of them are not even documented. Like there's potentially millions of people in South Africa who are undocumented and who are here unlawfully, who, according to the Human Rights Commission, are entitled to healthcare and a couple of other services, right? Beyond that is the corruption. And like the corruption is so bad that even though this is a good idea, the corruption makes it so unrealistic that even if, like, imagine the government having access to billions, and imagine like a private hospital um, stopping services, like not giving people medical attention because the government is delaying on paying them, which is the standard. Like even people I know who have done contracts or tenders, they always complain about the period it takes for the government to pay you. You have to go back and forth with them. So imagine now, like private hospitals, you are there, you need the service, and they're like, we can't help you. You know, the government hasn't paid us in like 3 months. You know, so that situation in itself is very problematic because the government has shown that they like stealing money, right? And the people who are benefiting, like the normal citizen who are benefiting, are prepared to kill in order to benefit from that. So, man, I don't know. I'm honestly in between because I do feel like people deserve equal, like the highest level of medical attention, right? But at the same time, it feels like it's not going to happen. What's going look at ESCOM for example, right? ESCOM right now, electricity, like for example, for 500, you get less than 200 units, right? So unfortunately, it feels like that's what it's going to end up going to. People are going to be taxed heavily in order to maintain that because public funds are going to be misused over and over again. And in order to compensate for that, the people who are paying tax are going to have to now pay more and more tax. And man, incompetence is killing citizens who actually need some of these services. Because now we can't trust the government to do this, and we have to side with corporations like corporates, like major companies who are honestly not doing it for anyone else except themselves. They are concerned about the fact that they will not be able to now charge for medical care or health care, right? This particular task will go to the government. So they are only protecting their own interest. They honestly don't give a damn about citizens and the poor person who can't afford like premium quality healthcare that they need, right? They honestly don't give a crap about that. And I say this because there was this guy who I knew who was involved in an accident. This guy went to a public hospital and they wanted to amputate, right? And fortunately there was someone there who knew him and was like, no, let's transfer him to, I think there was the hospital, a private hospital in Johannesburg. That guy is walking, like he's completely healed. So things like that are very important because public hospitals unfortunately either have incompetent doctors, or alternatively, the doctors are so overwhelmed that they end up taking shortcuts. And they take shortcuts with your life, right? Imagine this guy could have lost a leg or two legs or more than that when it was possible to save them. So that kind of access to healthcare is very important, but the problem is trusting the government to be in charge of such is honestly the biggest risk on the planet because the government cannot be trusted. So, man. So there's a constitutional court case happening that is preventing this particular law from actually being enforced, right? So there are two cases that are now being decided, I think, by the Constitutional Court. So once the outcome, because it seems like they are challenging the fact that when they were creating this national insurance, this national health insurance law, they are saying Parliament and basically the president did not allow public participation enough. So they're trying to challenge something like that. I'll try to keep you guys updated. I just felt like this is a topic that a lot of people need to know about. And since I'm doing legal content and I'm a qualified person in the legal field, I felt like I should comment on that. Yeah, sure.